Are you a business owner looking to secure your financial future and create a lasting legacy? I'm Leah Garcia, a financial strategist and insurance professional, and I specialize in guiding businesses with up to 50 employees on how to effectively protect and transfer their wealth. We break down silos with my unique approach, the wall of wealth. Imagine a seamless collaboration among your CPA, tax attorney, estate planner, and insurance expert, each playing their part in perfect harmony, ensuring your financial strategy is not just effective, but a true masterpiece. My passion stems from my own journey, from growing up on food stamps to dreaming of building community centers that empower others. Together, we'll craft a roadmap that not only safeguards your assets, but also nurtures generational wealth for your loved ones. Let's transform your vision into reality. After all, you can't measure the heart of a champion just by looking at them. Join me, and let's make your financial future shine.
Boom, boom, boom. Happy Wealthy Wednesday, champions. Come on in, come on in. Grab your tea, grab your coffee. I usually like to have a cup of tea. Bring something nice, warm, get cozy. We're going to have a great conversation. I really want to have your engagement. I want to hear from you. Today's guest speaker is going to be incredible. You know what? My crusade is to help families to create their dynasty, to create their family dynasty. And I do this show every week, really for me to learn, but it's also a part of us to build that community. So if you are an entrepreneur, you are a business owner, I want you to give yourself this opportunity to network in the comments. I want you to get to know one another, to leverage each other. You never know what diamonds are sitting there for you. Shout yourself out. Share what you're doing. People want to get to know you and what you do. Someone is looking for you. And what I do here, what I do on a daily basis is I teach financial literacy. I teach the real deal. I teach the gloves off, no puppy dogs and ponies here. I teach the gloves off, behind the curtain, real thing about money. You know, if you've got a wealth management financial advisor, that's cute. I get it. That's where we start. However, there are so many other things that we don't know about money. I drop money minutes, and they are gold. I'm going to say they are gold because I'm going to tell you the things that most people don't know about money. And we might learn money from maybe our financial professional. Maybe we learn it from our wealth management. Maybe we learn it from our broke Uncle Larry lying on the couch. And if you're Uncle Larry, I totally apologize to you. What I'm saying is, where do we learn about money? Most of us, we don't learn about money in schools. They don't teach us in schools. So what I teach, most people are not teaching. So, but today is not about me. It's about all of you champions and your incredible stories and what all of you do. I'm going to welcome you in a minute. First, I want to introduce our incredible guest. And this is why I love doing no pitch coffee chats. If you're our business owner right now and you're not doing no pitch coffee chats, I say you put that on your calendar. You start reaching out to your audience, start reaching out to your connections, and start to implement no pitch coffee chats. Have a conversation. Get to know your audience. Maybe there's something there that you can connect them to. Maybe there's someone that they can connect you to. Maybe just learn how to have a conversation. I was just on an incredible show by Dr. Leland. And you know what? They were having this great conversation. And some of those topics might have been seen as maybe controversial. But I believe that we've lost our ability to communicate. We've lost our ability to have a conversation with people who maybe don't totally agree with us. I think that's okay. I don't want people who think exactly like me. I want to get to know about you. That's how we actually can move and flow, right? That's how we learn. So today, my incredible guest, I have been connected with this man for a long time. We just recently had a no pitch coffee chat and I said, oh my gosh, how have I not talked to you before? So you just never know what can come up. So he has a background he's a seasoned professional with over 25 years of experience helping individuals, large corporations, small businesses, and government entities reach their full potential through financial management, positive engagement, and empowerment. He has improved operational sales and financial results for companies on cable TV, communications, TV programming, internet, and state governments. PowerThinking Corp. Mr. Green is currently president of PowerThinking Corp, a global human development firm which helps people and organizations thrive. And you know, that's my word, right? That's my word for the year. He has conducted successful resilience power thinking workshops for Comcast, Merck, Aflac, as well as partners in Beijing, China, Tokyo, Japan. Mr. Green is a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania, where he is co-president of his award-winning class. He was a captain of a top 20 basketball team coached by a basketball Hall of Famer. And I would say he is definitely someone who is dedicated. This is going to be an incredible conversation. You are going to want to ask questions, and we're going to take your questions live. So without further ado, please give it up for my incredible guest speaker, Mr. Stanley Green. Take it away, my friend.
Hi, how are you, Leah? Thank you very much for having me here. And I really appreciate being before your audience and having this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Awesome, awesome. So we're going to talk about how to retrain your brain for resiliency and for financial success. And I know sometimes people tell me, Stanley, they say, you know what, Leah, all you do is talk about money. Yeah, that's right. You're right. All I do is talk about money. But I don't just talk about money. I talk about real wealth. And I believe true wealth is having success in the 7 F's. I call it the 7 F's in your faith. When you have more money, you could give more money. You can donate more money. I intend to start up my own foundation, and I'm going to build a community center that is going to bless many, many people in challenged, impoverished areas. So in your faith, in your family, you know, if you accumulate wealth, but you don't have good family structure, that's not wealth. In your fitness, we got to be fit in our finances, in our fun, in our philanthropic. I know I made it enough, but also in our food. Have we noticed that food costs more these days? Every time it used to be like a $10 bag, then it's a $50 bag. Now it's a $100 bag. If I leave the store with 2 bags, I know it cost me $200, right? So let's talk about your incredible system. And how did you formulate this? Where did you start?
Sure. Well, Leah, thank you very much. And I saw that there's Sharon Smalls from Roslyn, PA, one of my Power Thinking Plus members for
Awesome.
a number of years now. So we talked it up this morning on our Wednesday calls, where we actually help people build these power thinking resilience skills. And Leslie Flowers, you probably know Leslie Flowers.
I do.
And, various programs, and she, in her comments about what we were focused on, she gave a plug for this event. So we really appreciate Leslie for that. And she has great respect for you, as many people. So all of this work that I've done was rooted in a lot of it in my childhood, and growing up, and not having a lot of money. I mean, you talked about your upbringing, and you weren't wealthy as a young person. Your family weren't wealthy, and in addition to not having much money, my family, because my mother was raised 6 of us, and by herself, pretty much. Dad was there for a few years and then gone, and then she was left to figure it out. House going into foreclosure, not having much money at all. We went from being kind of solid middle class to, wondering, where we were going to get the next meal. And these things happen.
Right.
And my mother suffered a nervous breakdown a couple of occasions. That's what they called it back then. And so that was one foundational inspiration for me. And then in the business world, there's people who may not have much money, but then there are folks and businesses that have a lot of money, and all of a sudden they don't anymore, and they have to go out of business, and they have to file Chapter 11. So because someone's in business and they're successful, it doesn't mean that that's always going to be the case. And then I had a chance to run companies where they were failing, and we had to focus on the individuals instead of shipping them out and bringing in a new set of individuals that thought like me. The challenge was to turn them around, and I was more grateful and fulfilled when I was able to take people who were really down on themselves and, feeling that they couldn't accomplish much, to actually not only, surviving, but to thrive. And we've seen incredible results achieved by cable company. We had a music video channel called The Box. It was a music video channel that competed against MTV. And ultimately we turned it around and then sold it to MTV. We had challenges when I was the CEO of a synthetic turf company that was failing. We had an entire industry that was threatened to go out of business, or because the EPA was investigating potential toxic substances, and I pulled the board together of the Synthetic Turf Industry Council to move into the EPA proactively to turn things around. So it was just time after time, where the takeaway is always that things aren't great all the time. There are going to be times when things go sideways or they go down. And we have to be prepared with a particular set of strengths and skills, to keep us moving, as opposed to getting stuck and staying stuck. So that all was the inspiration for me to start Power Thinking. And what was involved was me actually acquiring another company called Reflective Learning that owned the intellectual property rights to positive psychology material that came out of the University of Pennsylvania's Positive Psychology Center after decades and decades of work around what is it that makes resilient people bounce back faster. And we have a framework, and what we do is we help people to build these strengths, practice these skills, so that when that adversity hits, could be with your business, could be with a job where there's a big layoff, there's change all the time, could be where the market, goes down and you're near retirement and you lose a lot of money in the market. What do? It is to control those emotions and to move forward in a proactive and positive way.
Yeah. Well, first, I never overlook an opportunity to shut up myself. And I'm going to say, this is why I talk about wealth without risk. My clients don't lose money. They are bouncy like Tigger, right? They don't ever worry about losing money. And I don't think any of us should have to worry about that also. But I always talk about with my team is that whenever you're going from where you are to where you want to be, you're going to receive resistance. Call it the car tire is going to go out, or some family member is going to try to come and, play in your sandbox and tell you you're doing it all wrong. And so we have to understand that we have to fortify ourselves. We have to be prepared for when that resistance comes, because that resistance is going to come up. So I love that you talk about that. And I want to get down into the real, what is this? How does this work? I want to welcome a few people, just like you alluded to. You've already got some great friends in the audience. Miss Sharon, thank you for joining us. And Miss Kendra Noel, thank you so much for joining. She just started her own podcast. She has Boomtag Media, social media. If you're looking to upgrade your social media, definitely reach out to her. And she does a lot of really unique things. Definitely reach out. She does some fun things on Instagram. And also want to welcome Daniel from Boston. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, I got to give a shout out to my incredible social media team, Mr. Mic Drop. I call him Mr. Mic Drop, Mr. David Jones. All this that you see, everything you see, all this banner and everything, I don't take any credit for it. It's all my team. They're incredible. They helped me to upgrade my dusty, crusty website into what you see now, my Biz in a Box. It is more than a website.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Great work, folks.
Thank you so much. Yes, they have done great work. And wait till you see my website. It's incredible. I have a interactive wall of wealth on there. Meryl, thank you so much. He's always so supportive. We all need a Meryl in our life. I don't know what I did to attract Meryl, but I am so grateful. He shows up. He always gives incredible comments. He shouts people out. He's just somebody that is really, he's just like your little rah-rah team, right? Your little cheerleader team, which we all need that. April, thank you so much. Watching from the Philippines. I think it's is it the middle of the night there? I think it's like 2 a.m. or something. So yes, Miss Kendra, we are going to rise up and thrive in 2025. So I really love that what you're talking about is we have to be fortified and be prepared as we are up leveling our game and we're preparing to thrive. So what are some things that we need to think about? Or I don't know, even before that, I would ask you, is there something that we have already that makes us more resilient, or can we learn resiliency?
Sure. Well, for most of us, the overwhelming majority of human beings have that resiliency. No matter what happens, and if you look at it from the beginning of time, we found a way to survive. Now, there's some folks who, would throw in the towel, unfortunately, and way back then and even today. I mean, I've done this work in China and Beijing and Chongqing, China and Tokyo. And in that part of the world, while, there is a lot of focus on excellence, in fact, so much so that there are folks that young people that decide that they're just not cut out to be excellent, and or at least in the area that they'd like to be excellent, and they commit suicide. So there's always this need for what we do. And there are people, here's where a lot of this work started. In the late 60s, it was a prominent psychologist, a young psychologist by the name of Dr. Martin Seligman. And he had this theory that if people go through a traumatic event, when one goes through a traumatic event or a consistent failure to succeed, they can fall into a state of what's called learned helplessness.
Oh.
So you take someone that, as it relates to finance, may not have much money and be struggling financially. And then when it comes to investing and saving, they'll say, I just can't do it. So they've learned, because they've had these struggles, to be helpless in this area where they just don't believe there's they believe there's no way to succeed financially when there is a way. And so when this was proven and if you Google Dr. Seligman, or if you Google learned helplessness, you'll learn about the experiments that he did first with dogs and then with humans to prove that there is such a thing as learned helplessness. We actually learn. We're born resilient. You watch babies and toddlers. They'll jump off of chairs and bounce off walls. They have no fear. But over time, as we tell them no, or we tell them you can't do this, you can't do that, we actually help them to learn this state of helplessness. But he also started to learn or started to research, along with his team, something called learned optimism. If you can learn to be helpless, can you learn to be more optimistic and more focused on how you get things done, especially when you get knocked down, than as opposed to kind of staying down. And they came up with, and this is what we use at PowerThinking as our framework, 7 strengths that resilient people have. And it applies to all aspects of our life, and certainly financial as well. The first is what's called emotion regulation. And that is the ability to stay calm under pressure. You and I can remember some of the great setbacks financially in the United States and in some cases the world. And what was needed through each of these, the most recent was in 2008, downturn. There were great financial businesses, well known, that had to shut their doors and then go out of business as a result of that. There are people who lost significant amount of money, people who were laid off. COVID affected us as well. So there's emotion associated with that. There are 5 big negative emotions that we talk about. There's anger, the belief that somebody violated your rights. There's guilt, the belief that you violated someone else's rights. There's sadness, there's so pure loss. There's embarrassment, and things like that happen. You're a vice president of a major corporation, you lose your job. So that's that loss of standing in a group. Or if you've lost all your money, and that happens, there's that loss of standing, perceived loss of standing. And then finally, anxiety.
Mhm.
And that is this fear of a future threat. And you've seen it in the financial world where folks are going,
Mhm.
well, I don't know if I should be investing my money. The stock market seems to be volatile. We have a different administration that may be doing this or that. So I don't know. And they're paralyzed and they don't make a move. So emotion regulation, the ability to stay calm under pressure, is paramount when it comes to resilience. Because if you yield to negative emotions, then you can get stuck and paralyzed and not make a move. And I'll go through the others quickly. The next is impulse control, the ability not to say or do the first thing that comes to mind. Next is empathy, understanding another person's experiences and emotions. Then there is self-efficacy, and that is the belief that you ultimately have control over your ability to succeed. Um, After that is optimism, of course, the view that no matter how bad things get, that ultimately there's a solution, ultimately there'll be a successful outcome. And then there's causal analysis, which is the ability to drill down and find out the root cause of a situation or problem. And then what I think is the most powerful of the inner strengths of resilience is something that we're just understanding now as a strength as opposed to a weakness. For many, many decades, it has been viewed as a weakness, and that is simply reaching out, connecting with other people, taking action when faced with setbacks and challenges, as opposed to kind of lying in bed in a fetal position, wondering when things will get better. So there are the strengths, but how do you build those strengths? We have these skills that are evidence-based that came out of decades and decades of research. And each week, what we do in our calls, in our training calls, is help people to build those skills just by being on the calls. Because what we do is we talk about them, and we'll pick one and we'll talk about it, reinforce it. And when folks are with us for a period of time, they will find 30 to 60 days minimum. They will find that they'll respond differently to a variety of life's adversities, including financial.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack there. But I love that there's things that we can look at. Okay, do we regulate our emotions? Are we very impulsive? You know, with my precious grandson, he's 6 years old. And I heard about that marshmallow challenge, but he doesn't really like marshmallows. So what I
Yes.
did was I said he wanted to watch, he loves this fishing show. Anyway, Bass Pro Fishing. Shout out to Bass Pro Fishing. He wants to be a YouTuber, fishing YouTuber. But he wanted to watch his show. I said, you know what? Not right now. I'm going to take a shower. When we come out, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to play. But, you know, no watching TV. And I thought, he's 6 years old. He has a remote is right there. And I just like put it a certain way so I would know the way the remote was. And I went and took, I took my time. I took a shower. It's probably gone, 15, 20 minutes. I came back and he was playing. And I was really shocked because, I think that the impulse is it's an impulse. Like we just kind of can lean into that and succumb to that really easily. Optimism, cause of analysis, connection with other people. I would love for you to I want to ask you, why could this be seen as, you said it could be seen as something that is, I don't know how you put it, but it's not really a weakness. Yeah. Why can connecting with people be seen as a weakness?
What we're talking about is actually reaching out. Connecting with others is that subset of reaching out. So what happens is that when we're down, we may have gone filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, could be facing foreclosure. We've lost a significant amount of our investment. Look, these things happen regardless of our best efforts. And we have to recognize it's not about, you're just either successful or you're not. It can go up and down. And when it goes down, are you resilient enough to do what's necessary to bounce back? Or do you beat yourself up too much or get into kind of a shell? isolate yourself. So here's where we need to reach out for help. And that's the very difficult thing for the average person to do, because, society for many, many decades said to us, if you have to just tough it out and get through it yourself. Because if you go and reach out for help, it's a sign of weakness. And you don't want to be weak. You're strong. You can do it. You can figure it out. And the reality is that if you do reach out, and by connecting with other people, making those phone calls, right? Sending a text message, hey, can I pick your brain? I need help. As opposed to someone calling you say, how are you doing? Well, I'm not doing well. You want to talk about, no. I'm going to get through it. I'm going to tough it out. And I'll call you when I get through it. That's the wrong approach.
Wow.
Like yourself, folks, so like Leah, who can help folks financially, and they're saying, well, I'm too embarrassed, or, I just had a big loss. I don't know if I want to reach out right now. Reach out to Leah, connect with her, take action, make the phone call. These are the most important elements of bouncing back from adversity. But most people fail to do it because of this stigma that's still out there. Not as much as it used to be. The stigma associated with reaching out to help and admitting to people that you need some help.
That is brilliant. And I will tell you, when I first started, I was just a tough it out kind of person. And I still really am, but I really would not reach out to anybody. I didn't want anyone. I never told a soul that things were going crazy. I mean, I went through times when my electricity was turned off. I filled up my bathtub because the water was getting turned off, and I never told anyone. And maybe it was pride, maybe it was ego. I'm not really sure. Maybe it was my martial arts background. It's like, just tough it out. But I can see that if we're willing to reach out to people, there are so many people that are so generous who will actually not put you down, but they will help you to lift you up. Maybe it's somebody they connect you to. Maybe it's just some words of wisdom, a book they guide you to. So we never know what gems are there, what golden nuggets are there that we hide ourselves from because of not being willing to connect and reach out to people. So thank you so much for unpacking that for me. I definitely appreciate that. And you've got a lot of friends here. Of course, we got to say hello to the one and only Mr. Kenny. He loves cheesecake. I'm not really sure what that's about, but thank you for joining us. He always invites people. Thank you so much, Kenny. We appreciate you so much. He recently had a birthday. I think he's like 22, 23. I'm not really sure. My friend Blessings, thank you for joining. If you are looking for a VA, she does incredible services. Thank you for joining us from Nigeria. And of course, Miss Nick Agai Galindo. She is the brilliant writer, the bipolar. She's really an advocate, and she just dropped her new book. It's actually a collaboration and anthology. I think she's got 16 other authors, and they all talk about their abilities, right? Not their disabilities, but their abilities. And they just launched the book. I think it was yesterday. Check her out. Check out all the incredible authors and speakers that she has. I have a few of her authors are going to be on my show pretty soon. So I'm really excited about that. So I love what you said. I totally resonate with that. So now let's talk about, how does this impact us? We're entrepreneurs. We're business owners. How can we retrain our brain? Maybe we've had a certain level of success, and we know at every level, right, there's a new devil. There's something else that we need to do. So let's say we've gotten to a certain level of success. What do we need to do? What are a couple things we need to do to start to retrain our brain?
Well, the big thing is with what we do. I'm not a big person for just saying, here's some quick tips, because the average person just give me some quick tips and then I'll do it. And it's kind of like going to church on the weekend, on a Sunday, for those that just only go on a Sunday. And then you have the pastor and he deliver this tremendous sermon, and you're like, oh my goodness, that spoke to me. And, I really appreciate that advice. And then you go, drive down the road and somebody cut you off and then you start
Boom.
cursing, so it's like, so you get these nuggets, and most folks, are big with, hey, I just need some quick tips. I don't do that. What I do is I tell folks about the framework, because what we're talking about, you mentioned it at the very beginning, Leah, and that is retraining your brain.
Right.
Retraining your brain, which means that you know this, martial arts, you don't get quick tips. It's like, okay, well, here's how you do this, and here is how you disarm somebody, that has a knife. So just try that. And you're like,
right.
I really appreciate that, and they showed you. So you go out and, hey, wow, it's amazing. Within like 5 hours, somebody is approaching you with a knife. You're like, okay. And you try to remember the tip, and it's just not going to work. That it's not going to work.
It will not at all.
And what happens is that you practice, over and over the same move. Then there's another move. And then what happens is, over time,
right,
they become second nature. It is muscle memory. But it's interesting because we know that when it comes to martial arts. We know that when it comes to my sport, the sport I played, basketball, after my classes in college, in high school, it would be 2 hours or more of practice, and practicing the same things we already know.
right.
Why is that? So that when we get in a game situation, it's muscle memory. When you get into a match, it's muscle memory. But yet, when it comes to our most powerful asset, that's in control of, some of the most powerful attributes, our emotions, our impulses, our belief in ourselves, we want to get quick tips, and then we'll be on our way. So what we've done is, we've created, this is where we've pivoted from doing, I inherited a 6-hour online course from the company that we acquired on resilience. And all of the things that I talk about were embedded in this course, but it's 6 hours long. And even if folks went through the 6 hours and would admit that the content was tremendous, that if they were faced with a situation, they would have forgotten most of the things that they learned, and would respond the way they would normally respond to the adversity. So it is important that we give people an opportunity to practice these skills, a specific set of skills that will help them to retrain their brain. Now, the beauty of it is that the stuff that we share with people is really common sense. Like, this is a big one. There's 7 skills. One of those skills is avoiding thinking traps. Our brains are processing 50,000 thoughts every day. Every second and a half, another thought is popping into our head. Unfortunately, 70 to 80% of those thoughts are negative. When it comes to money, most folks will say, and you heard it, I don't have any money to invest. When they can start with a couple of dollars, with pennies, with micro investing apps like Acorns, it's just amazing. There you go. Take that 1 penny. And people will, take spare change and put it. Now you have micro investing apps where you can round up to the next dollar, and that money will go into investments. So these things exist. But, the thinking traps that they fall into, and this is developed by a prominent psychologist, Dr. Aaron Beck, who's one of the fathers of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. And so our focus is on people's thinking and helping them to be aware of when they may jump to conclusions about something without any evidence, where they may personalize or beat themselves up too much. And how many people do that, right? They're just really tough on themselves. How many people put too much blame in others? Oh, this new administration, they're horrible, so there's no way I can do anything. There's other thinking traps. We focus today on tunnel vision. And this is where, we have a goal. We want financial success, but we're really locked in on only one way to achieve it. as opposed to reaching out to you as an expert to help them look at the multiple ways that they can get to where they need to be. Vision is a big thinking trap. So every week we're focusing on either a skill like avoiding these thinking traps, or calming and focusing, a very obvious skill. But how many times do people who know that if they took some deep breaths when they're anxious, like think about yourself going into a big match, right? And you got a little anxiety. The first thing that you need to do to get over that, to be resilient and bounce back from that little bout with anxiety, is take some deep breaths. 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. It makes an incredible difference. When you see
I lost audio here for a second. Can you guys hear me? You can hear me? Wow, I cannot hear you. That's okay. Champions don't panic. We pivot, right? We absolutely pivot. I want to highlight a few of the comments, and as hopefully you can hear me. So I'm going to highlight a few of these comments that we have here. I want to give a shout out to our Queen Dr. Leslie Flower. She's giving you a shout out for your Wednesdays calls. And she's talked about weakness is our fear of criticism, right? That could be our fear of criticism. She teaches, if you don't know our Queen Dr. Leslie Flower, she is a master at Think and Grow Rich, which is one of the most incredible books written about money of all time. So she teaches us Think and Grow Rich on Fridays. She also does our Mind Over Matter on Mondays at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard. I'm not sure what time that is Eastern, but she's there every single week. And she's going to be having, I think, Mr. Stanley, I think you're going to be on her show pretty soon. So let's see if I can hear you. I cannot hear you. Can you guys hear Mr. Stanley? Yes, you can hear me. Not Stanley. Oh, they cannot hear you. They can't hear you either. So we did lose audio on your side, Mr. Stanley. Did you tap something? I'm going to welcome a few more people while you're kind of looking at your audio here. Listen, things happen. We got to be, anybody can look good when things go right, when the lighting's perfect, when the audio's there. But how do you act when things go a little awry? That's where true champions are made. So Miss Nick, what is this comment here? Vulnerability and seeking help when needed is a sign of high level of awareness. There we go. We got you. Okay. So I'm going to have to go back. Here's a great comment by Nick. Vulnerability and seeking help when needed is a high level of self-awareness. That is so brilliant. So we did lose like your last little diatribe. If you can maybe kind of revisit that us, because I don't want us to lose one single word of your wisdom.
Sure. So I mentioned skills. You know, we talked about the inner strengths of reaching out and emotion regulation, but how do you get there? You can't just say, hey,
is it me? Can you guys see? Is he frozen or is it me? Let's see. Yeah, I think he's having a little trouble. That's okay. I love this comment, Meryl. Dr. Martin Seligma. I don't know that one, but I'm going to check it out. Okay, you're back. We're ready. Okay. We're ready. We've got our notepads and we are ready to listen to your wisdom.
Yeah. Sure. So actually, Dr. Seligman and psychologists from all around the world that are part of the International Positive Psychology Association, which Dr. Seligman started. He was actually on the staff of the company that I acquired, and his research has developed the course and material that I'm sharing. But they're in Brisbane, or will be in Brisbane, Australia this month for their conference. You still hear me okay there, Leah?
Yes.
Okay, good. So what I mentioned was that one of the skills, there's 7 skills of resilience. One, of course, is calming and focusing. We all know that we should stay calm under pressure, but very few people do it. And so by reinforcing it, over a period of time, we help people to make it second nature. When something happens, then they know the first thing that they want to do is take a few deep breaths so that they can bring down the level of anger or anxiety and so forth. And as Dr. Leslie mentioned, repetition is the first law of learning. Except that what most people do when it comes to learning is they take a course and then they're out. But with something like what we're doing, you cannot just be exposed to it one time.
Oh. Wow, we lost audio again. That's okay. I love this comment also. While you're fixing your audio really quick. No money is required to start. I heard this recently. One of my mentors said it's an NTN. Yeah, we got you. An NTN. No talent needed. Can you hear us?
Right.
Okay.
Yes,
beautiful.
I can hear you.
Yeah. All right. Beautiful. The mic is,
go ahead.
Yeah, the mic is yours. So go ahead and finish your thought, please.
Okay. So again, hopefully everybody understands that this is about building skills through repetition. Leslie is on our calls, and she's usually the first person to step up because we give people an opportunity to speak. And what we do on a Tuesday night is we'll send out a 2 to 5 minute video clip that focuses on a particular skill or strength. And then on Wednesday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time to 8 a.m., just 30 minutes, we'll talk about it. And folks can jump in and give their experiences, share their experiences, their thoughts. And that helps reinforce what we're focusing on. Dr. Leslie Flowers is one of the folks who, consistently will come up and share, their takeaways from the focus of the day in that particular video. So as I was mentioning a little earlier, and if it breaks down where you can't hear me, just let me know as soon as you lose audio. It's interesting because I have Fios, which is fiber optic generated. I was actually, way back in the day, we were experimenting with this at the telephone company, knowing that this would be the optimal connection for Wi-Fi. And I have it. And I don't know if it's me that's going out or what's going on, but I'm connected. So this recognition that, we have these 50,000 thoughts a day and that we can tend to fall into these thinking traps. Dr. Aaron Beck, one of the fathers of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, created these thinking traps back in the 60s, and they make perfect sense. Now, we have a tendency to fall into these traps and not realize that we've fallen into a thinking trap, where we could jump to conclusions about something. People have jumped to a conclusion that if they're living from paycheck to paycheck, they'll never be able to save, or they'll never be able to invest. And that's totally wrong, because there are many folks who are actually spending money on things that, they can avoid. All right, Starbucks coffee every now and then, but, twice a day, Starbucks coffee, McDonald's $15 Big Mac meal, because that's about what it costs nowadays. Doing that once a week, or your phone bill. I was paying with phone and Wi-Fi And cable, it was a time I was paying $500 a month.
Right.
I re-examined it all, and I'm paying $200 now, less than $200 for FiOS, fiber optic Wi-Fi, and 3 cell phones. Cut out the cable. I don't need that package. And with the streaming services, there are things that we can do to find money. But part of the issue, Leah, because I was a deputy treasurer with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and one of my focuses was financial literacy.
Right.
And we actually created a course that we tested with the employees of the Pennsylvania Treasury, and it just sold out. I mean, it was a very popular course. But one of the things we talked about and focused on was making people aware of their thinking, that they have actually been programmed over their lifetime to spend, to buy things that they don't need, just for status. And their purchases, like cars, well, folks will wind up having a $700 to $1,000 a month car payment. What we do with our utilities, with cell phones, if with even streaming services. Let's say we said, I'm out of cable TV. I dropped that, so I saved $100 some there. But now you have 10 streaming services. You got Hulu and Peacock and Paramount Global and HBO Max, and then we look at them. Wait a minute, I just use Netflix. So that's $7 a month with ads. That's fine for me. Let me cut out Peacock. Let me cut out Hulu. Let me cut out Disney Plus. I'm saying this because I just went through this exercise. I had Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus package, and I said, well, I don't even use Disney Plus at all. Maybe when the grandkids come over, but that's rare. And some of these others I don't use. I was able to pull out just from streaming services, other subscriptions, $26 a month for car wash. It's good weather now. I'll wash my own. I pulled out about $100 a month just from things like little streaming services and other things that I really don't need. So this is the thing that for most people, and most people, as you and I know, are paycheck to paycheck or paycheck to almost paycheck. They don't even make it to the next paycheck, and things are getting tough. And there's still ways that you can save money, get your 3 to 6 months of monthly expenses in a savings account, as Leah would tell you, and have an investment going at the same time, if through nothing else, micro investing through an app called Acorns, which I tried out because I'm trying to help people as well. And then it's amazing what you can accumulate, even if you see yourself as a paycheck to paycheck person.
Absolutely. So on point. I absolutely love that. And a couple of things come to my mind, and that is Joe Dispenza says that we have the majority of our thoughts. We have like 60,000 thoughts in a day. I don't know if that's true, if that's the right number, but 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts we had yesterday. So what I do, one of the things I do is I force myself to have a different thought every day, a different vision, a different conversation, read something, think something, believe something different, even if it's just for that moment, so that I'm not falling. Well, I'm sure I fall into those traps. I think we all do, because they're invisible. There are traps, right? We don't know. So what's something that we could do? Before I ask you that question, I'm also going to say this. I just helped a client. I love your talking about money. I just helped a client who said, I have got too much month at the end of my money, or the way you phrase it, I'm living paycheck to almost paycheck, and I want to start saving and investing. So you know what? We put together a $1 a week saving and investing plan. Yes, I did. I talk about the power. That's the power of the penny. Do you know how many people just take a penny, they see it on the street, they toss it around, they throw it underneath their sofa cushions, they throw it, some people even throw it away. But what I want you to embrace is that we are no longer going to be printing pennies because it costs too much. This 1 cent now costs 2 or 3 cents to make. If you went to this is what I did with her. I said, you take $1 a week. You're going to go to the bank and you're going to buy a roll of pennies. You're going to look through all of those pennies and you look for the ones that are 1982 and below because they have more copper in them. And some of these pennies, by the way, because they're older, they might be worth $3 or $4 or $5 or even $15 or more. So you think you're saving $1 a week, but 52 weeks in a year. What if you find 5 or 10 or 20 or 100 or 1,000 of these pennies that are worth $5 or 10 or $15? Somebody might think it's just a penny or $1. At the end of the year, you may have $400 or $500. The average family doesn't even have $400 or $500. So I love that you are giving me this opportunity to say that. What I want to know is,
we got to get to this one, Leah, because when I started with the Treasury, it was the first time in my life that I was with the government. A friend of mine was the state treasurer in Pennsylvania, wanted me to come out and work with him. He was going to run for governor. So the first group that I led was I was the director of the Bureau of Unclaimed Property.
oh,
And
yes.
you're familiar with that. So I had 80 people and they were on the phones all day helping people, get the money that they didn't know they had. So what everyone has to know is that when I was running the Bureau of Unclaimed Property, there was $2.5 billion that the Treasury was holding on to that belongs to people. Now, even though every year the Treasury is giving back hundreds of millions of dollars, the money that comes in is more than what goes out. So now they have $4 billion. That's just in Pennsylvania. Across the United States, if you put all of the states together and added up their unclaimed money that belongs to their citizens, it amounts to over $70 billion, folks. 1 in 10 people will have unclaimed money. I'll give you a site to go to claim this. Many of the state treasuries, you can go to your individual state treasury in Pennsylvania. It's treasury.gov, and then look for unclaimed property. When we talk about unclaimed property, we're really talking about unclaimed money. And if you're in any other state, go to that state associated with your treasury, or go to the site associated with your treasury. If it's Nevada, treasury, you can Google that, unclaimed money, Google that. Or you can simply go to missingmoney.com.
Yep.
Most of the states have connected their databases to missingmoney.com. They're not going to charge you anything. And you do that as I'm speaking. The site will come up. You put in your name, put in the name of your family members, put in the name of grandfather, because they're or parents who may be deceased. They may have had insurance money that's owed to you that you weren't even aware of. And 1 out of 10 will find unclaimed money. The average amount, some will be $10, some will be $20, $50. The average amount is about $1,200, at least in Pennsylvania.
Uh-oh.
So that's another way to find money. I guarantee you, someone, as we're speaking, if you do this, you will find that you have some money coming to you, or some relatives, or a church. I looked up some mega churches in Philadelphia, and one of them, when I was in the Treasury, one of them had $100,000. I called them up and we returned that money to them, and they didn't even know it was missing. It was actually a CD. You know how this goes. You can have your CDs roll over, but you have to read the fine print, because some CDs will automatically roll over for maybe the first or second period. But after that, you have to call them and tell them, yes, I want you to continue to have this roll over. If you don't, if it goes dormant for 3 years, which means there's no activity on it, they are obligated, that the financial institution, to turn that money over to the state. And the same goes with stocks and bonds, where you haven't checked your account for a period of time because you were thinking, no, the dividends and capital gains were going to continue to build. You don't have to call. And guess what happened? We would get that money coming into us, the hard-earned investment dollars, and people would be really upset because they've lost that opportunity for that money to continue to grow, because the Treasury instantly sells it, or cashes it in, right? And holds that money for the, for the citizen. So I thought I'd throw those tidbits. So we're talking about pennies, folks. You may have money out there, or your relatives, your friends, your soccer club, your church, your old business. Look it up.
Yes. And
Here it is,
because of
Meryl.
you,
Put it up, missingmoney.com.
yeah, there it is right there. Thank you so much, Meryl. We love you so much. He's putting all the links in the comments. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you so, so much. And because of our conversation, Stanley, I went, and I've gone on there before, but I went to Missing Money and I found like $150. I was like, whoa, I was so inspired. It's actually going to be on my Biz in a Box. It will be a free link on one of my tools, because all of you now are going to go there, but other people in the future, people don't know about this, or they think that the website might be scammy. So it's a free tool on my new Biz in a Box where you could go there and find that missing money. Maybe you're $1,000, maybe you're $50, but heck, go and capture that money. And I've checked mine before, and I also found like about $150. So I love that. And our Queen Dr. Leslie Flowers, she also did. I want to address this question, if I may. Somebody asked here, it was Sherilyn asked, let's address HOA fees. I pay $802 a month just for HOA. Is there anything that can be done with that? So in my research, what I've seen and what I've found is that there really isn't anything you can do. But I know what the CPAs that I partner with, they talk about renting your space. So you could actually, I think it's called the Augusta rule. Don't quote me. I'm not a CPA. This is not tax or legal advice. But what I've seen is they say, if you use this rule, you can rent out your space for up to 14 days a year, and you can write off a lot of those things. There's a lot of things that you can write off. So if you have that ability, Sherilyn, maybe that's something you could look into, and that may be a way to offset those HOA fees. I've seen a lot of HOA fees that are going up, and it's really hurting a lot of people. Thank you so much for the question. I love that. And we're really at the top of the hour. I don't even know where this hour went. I know before we even started, I said, okay, Stanley, this is our first time, but I know we've got to do a lot of other future collaborations because you've got a lot to share. I love the work you do. I love your presence. Isn't he just so stoic? I mean, look at him. He's just an incredible power man. I love it. And he's got an incredible wife. They've been married, I think he said 41 years, which is just a testament to his dedication, to his loyalty. I mean, think of what it does to do anything for 40 years. It takes a lot of grit, right? And a lot of prayer too. So you've made a lot of new friends, reconnected with a lot of old friends. I know people are going to want to connect with you. Where is the best place for them to reach you?
Sure. I'll tell you what, my email address is Stan, S-T-A-N, at my company, PowerThinking Corp, PowerThinkingCorp.com. Now reach out anytime. Or you can call 215-219-8409, call or text 215-219-8409, or because most of you are on LinkedIn, just message me on LinkedIn. There you go.
Yeah, whether you're joining us from LinkedIn or Facebook, or I don't know where else we're streaming this to. I think it's going on my YouTube channel. Reach out to Stanley. He's just an incredible resource. He is somebody you want to get to know. I'm going to tell you that. Bottom line, connect with him. And really quick, before I let you go, what can we expect to see from you in the next 6 to 12 months? I know you've got a lot of things percolating. What's on the horizon as you rise up to thrive?
Oh, sure. And number one, the thing that we're certainly most excited about is our app. We have a Power Thinking mobile app. And as we speak, and we're in beta right now, but you can actually go to your Play Store or your Apple store and put in, Power Thinking, C-O-R-P, Power Thinking Corp. You'll see the P come up, our logo. And this app we send notifications to help reinforce, what we're focusing on in terms of helping you to retrain your brain to be more resilient. We'll send videos. On Saturday, we actually call that Financial Success Saturday, and we'll send, various very short videos around that. we give people an opportunity to make money. So if they're referring folks, they'll send a link to, hundreds of people. And as people sign up, number one, they get a 30-day free trial in it. But if they sign up and after the 30 days pay, then that person that referred them won't get just 25% as a thank you. They get 25% of the ongoing monthly fee that their friend paid. That's another element and is how we're building the community. They can access calls through the app. There are other features in there as well. But yeah, we're most excited about the PowerThinking mobile app. And so thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about it.
Oh, please, please make sure you put that in the comments. I know people are going to want that free. We love free, right? That's one of my favorite F words. We love, love, love free. We got to grab that 30-day free trial. It is going to be fire. And then look at that. Maybe you make an extra $10. Maybe you make an extra $50 just for sharing the good news. I absolutely love that. And we have these apps that are going off every day. How about if we have an app that's actually helping us? So that's going to do it for us. I'm going to play my outro, but don't go away because I'm going to come back for my closing thoughts. So stay with us. We will be right back. Somewhere. Let's see. Here we go.
Hey there, I'm Leah Garcia. Have you ever wanted a career where you truly make a difference in people's lives? I'm building a team of driven financial and insurance professionals, people who want to help families and businesses protect, distribute, and transfer their wealth with confidence. If you're passionate about guiding others to achieve financial security, then you're exactly who I'm looking for. Join my supportive, growth-oriented environment and unlock your full potential. Ready to take the next step? Visit leahgarcia.io and let's start building your future together.
This was just incredible. I've got a lot of notes here, a lot of golden nuggets. I love word tracks and I love quotes. I love to have these little things that I memorize that I can just pull out. But I love this when you said, we can decide to be excellent. I just really love that. We can all decide to be excellent. Maybe you're going to decide to be an excellent stay-at-home mom. I was a stay-at-home mom for 19 years. Whatever it is that you're going to do, I say, do it well. How you do something is how you do everything. If we have a messy car, we're probably going to have a messy house. And if we have a messy home, we're probably going to have some messy finances, right? We're not going to be really, really vigilant in one thing and then be really aloof on another. I don't think that is really the way it works. I think the way we are is the way we are everywhere. And then I love this thinking traps, avoiding the thinking traps. I love that you have a system for it. And we can learn to become resilient. Even if you are kind of resilient now, we can all learn to be more bouncy. I say become a Tigger, right? We could all be more bouncy. And it's one thing to make money. I think it's really, really easy to make money. The key is learning how to save that money and protect that money long term. You shared that earlier. You said that there's a lot of businesses in 2008, they lost their business. They had been successful. They had had a lot of money, just only to lose it. And I believe that we can flip the script. We can absolutely create that dynasty and build that family dynasty to change our last name forever. I truly, truly, truly do believe that. This was a lot of fun. I loved it. I'm so glad that we had these glitches because it made us listen better, right? It made us listen harder. And I always believe that if there is a little glitch here, it's because your message is trying to be stifled. You know, they're trying to keep you down, but you cannot keep down the sunshine. The cream always rises to the top. Thank you so much, Mr. Stanley. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, all of you, for joining us. Be sure to shout yourself out. Share what you do. Share your link. Share what you have coming up. People are looking for you. This is your opportunity to connect with each other. There's somebody you don't know, have a 7-minute quick no-pitch coffee chat. I promise you, you may find a Mr. Stanley Green that's there right in front of you that can be this power connection for you. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you. I love every single one of you. I love all the comments. We're here every single Wednesday for Wealthy Wednesday. My next week guest speaker is going to be fire. I've got Coach K. I don't even know how I was able to get Coach K because she really doesn't like doing these things, but I begged her. I pleaded with her. I promised her love and flowers, and she is going to grace us with her presence next week. It's going to be fire. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Wealthy Wednesday. And remember, this is your year to rise up and thrive and make it the best year of your life. Thank you, everybody.
Hey there, I'm Leah Garcia. Have you ever wanted a career where